Okay, I made whole videos where I had a bunch of this stuff on, but I have several YouTube accounts. I can't remember if it's on any of them, and I didn't feel like pouring through all the videos, but I didn't see. I went down like 20 videos or so on the accounts I'm talking about, but I couldn't see it. So there was one account they deleted, but they never told me why. Um, The last video I made before they deleted my account, I proved in how in the Holy Bible it says that Islam is the Antichrist movement. But there's actually a guy in a video. I mean, I could look up the guy, and he actually talks about the same thing. But if you look up everything that anything talks about the situation, well, I don't believe. I'm not religious. I don't believe in any of it, but a lot of things that are said in there are so true. They're so connected to what actually is. If you read what it says, like there was a thing where Saddam Hussein tried to build the Tower of Babel back up, the city of Babel, and the U.S. stepped in and stopped him. And how there's a relation to um, the Muslim country. I think it's Iran and Israel. How it goes back way back where they had tried to. There was some 7-year thing with them, and it's actually written in there in the Bible about this. They were going to try, and in the end, they were going to take them down. But even the Quran itself points to the Holy Bible's specific text in the Holy Bible that actually says the Quran is false. Not to mention it was created 700 years ago. Well, the actual religion never got started for like, I think 500 years ago or something. But the guy that started it all was around 700 years ago. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So this number here, this is my number for pi, 3.125. And see, here's the thing with this, and this is why I wrote it down to show. See, here's the thing with this. All the numbers that they got, either constants need to be perfected. Even their constant, they call them constants. But if you look all over the place, they'll say, well, but it's relative to this or something, like the speed of light. They don't have an exact number on it. They say, well, the speed of light in a vacuum is what we normally use as a constant, but, and even that's not absolute, because what they call a vacuum isn't actually a pure vacuum. When you're in a solar system, there's still, it's not pure space, and space itself is a substance. So you can call it whatever you want. It's the vacuum. No, space is a substance. Space and matter and energy, they're all made up of the same stuff. Space. Black holes create space. Suns create the opposite. They both do the opposite of what the other one does. Like a black hole creates space, but its byproduct will be Hawking radiation, and suns create matter and energy. Well, like cosmic rays and stuff. It all congeals. It turns into matter and stuff. So if you get into like the electromagnetic spectrum, once it gets to cosmic rays, it's actually particles. Is my point. If you get gamma rays and anything below gamma rays all the way to 1 hertz frequency is all in the electromagnetic spectrum. Above that, is you go to cosmic rays, it's particles. But below that is what? Space. There's 3 levels to the electromagnetic that you could put on it, what you could call the electromagnetic spectrum. It's just another scale, a different form of a scale to measure all things in the universe. It's that simple. Being able to put a lock on the size of space itself and be able to calculate that, I haven't figured it out yet, but I know how to do it. So all you do is you just compare. It's the micro versus the macro versus the quantum, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, they mirror image each other. Same thing as if you look at so there would be 3 levels to the electromagnetic spectrum. You'd have particles, you'd have electromagnetic realm, and then you'd have the space itself and its levels of waves and stuff like that, so on and so forth. which would go below 1 hertz on the space thing. But anyway, if you look at a solar system, if you look at it from one angle, it looks like a circle. If you look at it, back out from it, you look at it, and all these planets that are going around the sun, it just looks like a kind of a big elliptical type of circle, right? But you turn it another way, and it looks like a flat disc. It's like a disc or a flat line, right? So that's exactly what the galaxy, any galaxy, looks like if you back out from it. It's the same. It's a spiral galaxy that from one angle looks like this flat disc, and then from like another view, it looks like this big circle. So you don't know if it's spherical or not. You see what I'm saying? You don't know if the whole thing is spherical till you go at it from a different angle and realize, oh, it's a disc. Well, anyway, so same thing, solar system, equivalent to. So you'd have solar system, galaxy, and you back out from that and you look at the entire everything in the universe but space. Because you wouldn't be able to see the space itself around it or in it or any of that. What you would see is the matter and energy, which at one angle, this is my theory, would look exactly like a galaxy, just spherical. Circular on one side, be like a circle on one side, and look like a disc on the other, or a flat line. So anyway, these numbers aren't actually absolute. They don't have an absolute lock on them, and the reason why is because they don't know that space itself is a substance. That's why. And even if they do, trying to calculate that, like I said, I've figured out how to do it, but I haven't. I don't know how to go backwards. I haven't really figured out how to backtrack. So what I'd have to do is compare it to any particle in existence after it gets past the gamma rays, and I'd have to create a whole entire spectrum scale, and then I would compare it to the electromagnetic spectrum. Then I could use those two, the comparison of the differences, to create the electromagnetic spectrum for scale for space. Anyway, I haven't done it yet. So, but these numbers aren't absolute, even Planck's constant, so on and so forth. So I perfected basically numbers that would end infinite loops, and they give you an average of what a particle would be, what the type of energy would be in this, and the matter, and all this stuff, and blah, blah, blah. Because none of them are exactly the same. If you take every electron in the entire universe, not one of them are going to be exactly the same. Not one of them. There's going to be some difference. There's going to be some type of change in the isotopic spin. It might be so minute that we can't even detect it, or energy difference, or this or that, or so on, because the whole entire universe is a pendulum, and it's a trade-off of things, and it's infinitely trading off things. It never stops. The only thing that's truly infinite is motion. Without motion, we wouldn't exist. So there's no such thing as zero rest. But anyway, so that proves right there you wouldn't be able to go back in time. There's no such thing as time. There's no such thing as the past. Past, present, and future all exist right now at the same time. So there's no past, present, future. The universe itself never had a beginning, and it doesn't have an end. It just is, was, and always will be. But anyway, so you can put a basic average, which would end all the infinite loops, and then you could go off of that and change what numbers are, what scale of numbers there would be between the average of less than the average and above the average. It'd be just like creating a foot ruler or a scale, or like the electromagnetic spectrum. It'd be like creating that. It's just a graph from less to greatest. Also, there's only 3 levels in that of force. When you look at everything, it's that you could categorize it to solve a lot of problems. For instance, gravity and weak force would be in the same graph. Okay, and then you would get to the electromagnetic force, and then the next level would be strong force. But there's a whole bunch of other forces in there, and that whole entire scale is connected to that force. That force is, of the category that force is in. So there's more forces. You can say that at some point it becomes not electromagnetic, but it would still be in that same range, in the same ruler or spectrum or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so that's why I put pi at 3.125. And so as you can see right here, so for instance, you times pi times 57.6, you come up with an exact 180 degrees. And this is to show you that the other number changes. Not pi wouldn't change. There would be two numbers that wouldn't change, okay? So it would be the circumference that would that I think would change. It would be pi times the diameter, right? So yeah. So the circumference itself could change. You see what I'm saying? And also, it wouldn't be an exact circle. See, that's their biggest problem with pi is they're trying to create this perfect circle, and there's no such thing. Numbers are just a man-made tool to help us measure things, and therefore they're not perfect. They're not perfect. They're the best that we could come up with to be able to put a face on things. You see what I'm saying? So you can't, for instance, you can't divide 7 into 3 because you only come up with 3. Like, you imagine 7 balls going into 3 slots where the balls can fit. Only 3 of those balls are going to go in there. It's going to be a remainder of 4. That's the math. Not some infinite freaking loop. It doesn't exist because you can't divide 7 completely into 3. There's no parts left over and all this other stuff. So it's BS. It's BS math that people use to keep their mind occupied. I don't know, this fantasy that they live in. There's no such thing as multiple dimensions, multiple universes, and all this other stuff. I think that the math that these people are using, I'm pretty sure I'm right, the math that these people are using is telling them that these are possibilities. The fact of the matter is when the universe big bangs and big crunches, it creates the next big bang. It's infinite big bang and big crunch. The next big bang, the universe is a little different. Sometimes it creates a universe that's almost virtually exactly like the one before it or after it. I don't know how many recreations of the universe before it recreates one that's exactly like the one, say, currently that we're in, right? Current formation. But so some things would be off. Okay, well, here that's the reality of that. Those universes don't exist right now. They're not here right now. The universe has to big bang and big crunch before it starts another one, and then that universe, the next universe, would exist in different forms. It's not a multiple universe. It isn't a universe that exists alongside this one. That's insane. It's dumb. And so I can't believe that these, not only normal people are saying this everywhere, but scientists believe in this stupid shit that there's multiple dimensions and multiple universes. No. Your math will tell you that. Why? Because the universe is on an infinite loop. And it just recreates a different universe next time, but some things might be exactly the same. It might reform almost, but it won't be exactly the same. That's why I say almost. It can never be exactly the same. Because the same exact universe will never repeat itself until every other universe possible combination has been played out. It's entropy. Maximum, minimum entropy. It's like anything else. You throw a ball inside of a box with, say, no gravity, and it'll infinitely bounce off all the walls until eventually it crosses back past the path and the point that it started at. Meaning that this universe has existed before and it'll exist again in the exact same way. But so it's predestined. But there's a choice. I think the choice only exists inside the bubble. Meaning we have a choice, but I think only within a certain bubble. Meaning it doesn't affect the entire universe or the next outcome of the universe. It's like a temporary little area that you can change. In certain little areas in the universe, say, or just around yourself. And what you do, you can change go different paths than was already predestined for this exact universe. The thing is, it will snap back like a rubber band, and it won't change anything in the universe, and it won't change the next reformation of the universe, or formation, call it what you want. It's just one big ball of constantly forming and unforming and whatever you want to call it. Universe, trade-off of things, matter, energy, space. But anyway, so that's why I came up with pi being 3.125. And in every calculation that I need to use that number, because that becomes a constant. In any calculation I need to use that number, 3.125 ends all the infinite loops. And we know also there's no such thing as an infinite amount of energy, an infinite amount of matter. So we know there's not an infinite amount of space, meaning the universe has a limit. And you can't put an infinite number on something that can't be infinite. So the universe has a ceiling. In my theory, the universe's ceiling, the whole entire actual shape of the universe, which I believe is like a disc on one side. You look at it like a line, and like a circle on another side, like you'd be looking at a circle. It's the exact same shape of everything else, micro versus macro versus quantum versus whatever you want to call it. Galactic, so on and so forth. Universal, whatever. So that's what it would look like. But you wouldn't be able to get outside of it and see that. That's the problem. Because after you get to the ceiling, it becomes nothing, pure nothing, true nothing. And when I say that, I mean it doesn't have any light. Oh, so there's darkness. No, there's no such thing as darkness either. There's no such thing as anything in it. It's nothing. It's pure nothing, true nothing. You understand? Oh, there's no positive. Oh, so it's negative. No, it's not negative either. It's not neutral. It's not negative. It's not positive. And that's another thing, too, I'd like to point out, because there's three things to everything in the universe. Three basic things to everything. Three basic levels of everything. You got positive, negative, and neutral with everything in the universe. Remember what I said about the electromagnetic spectrum scale? Okay, once you get to cosmic and past that, all the particles and all the other shit, that's in a different scale by itself. Same thing with the freaking space. So that's three different levels. Force, same thing. Gravity and weak force would be in the same one in the same scale. Then you'd have electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic force in the same scale, and strong force would be in another scale. That's three different scales. Why do you think scientists are only trying to use three, but they keep trying to leave out gravity? That's their problem. They don't know that gravity and weak force are in the same category. If they put that together, then they'll have a grand unified theory. Thank you very much.